Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're going to be talking about pre-loved misconceptions. If you guys are new here or you don't know, I work in the luxury resale industry. I have worked in this industry for about 4 years now. At the time, I didn't know anything at all about handbags or about luxury goods or about designers or anything like that. I have always loved fashion, but a couple of things threw me for a loop. Also, I do interact with people almost every day regarding buying and selling items, and a lot of people are just not very knowledgeable about the pre-love market because they've never bought or they've never sold, etc., etc. And these are some things possibly that I thought and other things that I've heard other people say over the course of many years. And today we're gonna knock down these myths. So if you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. My name's Katherine and my channel is KWSHOPS. I did just mention that I work in the luxury resale industry and I do informational videos all about the pre-love market, about handbags and fashion. So if those things are interesting to you or if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button down below as well as the bell icon next to it so you can be notified every time that I upload, which is once a week. So we're going to be tackling 7 myths today. You let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the ones that I describe here, and comment below if there's any others that you can think of, because I want to bust these myths. I want everyone to know that the pre-love market is completely legitimate and that some of these things that people think are just not true. So the first pre-love myth is that people who shop pre-loved can't afford to buy new. And this one obviously goes in many directions. I will say that while it is definitely true for some people, it's not true for everyone. The great thing about the pre-love market, why all of us love it as much as we do, is that it opens up buying for many different seasons. While I personally, choose not to afford to buy new bags at retail price, I prefer to shop pre-love because saving money is a factor for me. That's not necessarily true of everyone. There was only a bag that was made in one collection in 2011. The only way to purchase that item would be to shop through the pre-loved market. I couldn't afford to buy every handbag I have full retail value. That is true for me, but that is not necessarily the case for everyone. The second one is one that just every time I hear it, I just get so angry. Myth number 2 is that the people selling their handbags or selling their luxury goods, we'll say didn't buy them on their own. If you guys can infer my meaning from that, I guess the assumption is that they were purchased, items that being sold were purchased by a husband or boyfriend or some other arrangement that I'm not going to get into here. That to me is just nonsense. I think it's surprising the amount of people who have regurgitated that to me, and it just really just makes me very, very angry because it's so insulting. Some people who sell their items are doctors, some are lawyers, some are models. I mean, some are nurses, some are students. Some people sell stuff because they need the money. Some people sell stuff because they don't use it or like it anymore. Some people sell stuff because they just want to get the next new thing. And no matter what the reasons are for selling your items, just know that it's really nobody's business but your own. And I just really, that just puts a thorn in my side when I hear that. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what any of you decide to do, fine, I'm for it, whatever, do what you want. But it is a little insulting to think that that no one is purchasing items for themselves. Everyone is receiving them as gifts. Yeah. And again, you would be very, very surprised to hear how many people think that is the case when it's not. I'll speak for myself alone. Yes, I have received a few of my most favorite and treasured bags as gifts, but the lion's share, the vast majority, were purchased with my own hard-earned money. And I'm sure that is the case for most of you as well. So myth number 3 is that when shopping pre-loved, you will get stuck with a fake. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely fakes out there. That is an element that you do have to prepare yourself for, that you do have to, be on guard against when you are shopping through many pre-loved sites. However, a lot of the marketplaces are much more regulated than than a lot of people would think. Obviously, there are companies that they can't police and monitor everything that gets posted up onto their website, so it definitely is your job as a consumer to be wary of the possibility of purchasing something counterfeit. But what I recommend if you are new to shopping pre-loved, or even if you aren't, is using authentication services, as well as using PayPal to complete your transactions. Basically with PayPal, any merchant or person who accepts PayPal as payment, through invoicing, obviously, they are required to be honest and transparent about what it is that they're selling. So I can't, if I tell you that the Gucci bag is authentic and send you a fake one, then you definitely can do a chargeback through your credit card company or through PayPal. So it is much, much safer than it was in the past. What I also want to make sure and tell you guys is that never pay through like Western Union or wire transfer or use cash if you are, picking up locally. Make sure you're using a credit card or PayPal to complete your transaction, as well as some of the online authentication services, and there are a whole bunch of great ones out there. So the next pre-love myth is that when you buy something, you have to keep all of the included accessories, being the box, the dust bag, the cereal card if it comes with one, your receipt, and the shopping bag and the ribbon and everything. Like, don't get me wrong, all of those things are great to have if you do have the space and do have the ability to hold on to them, but they're not required. When people are buying a bag, they're buying the bag. And while in some cases you will not be able to expect the highest top dollar value if you're missing certain of those pieces, it is not necessary always to include those with the transaction. Again, I do find it better to have them, but if you only have so big of a closet and can't store the box for every single handbag that you own, that's normal. Most people can't. So I would say definitely do your best to hold on to the dust bag. I like to just keep my dust bags inside of their bag. Even still, when someone's purchasing a bag, they're trying to buy the bag. Anything extra added onto that is great, but generally speaking, it's not the end of the world if you don't have some of those added accessories. And a note about cereal cards. I get this question all the time. I personally will buy Chanel without the cereal card, and I call it a cereal card instead of an authenticity card for a reason. The presence or absence of one of those cards has no bearings at all over whether or not the bag is real or fake. Those cards are probably the easiest part to counterfeit, so to me they're great to have if they're there, but otherwise it doesn't really make that much difference to me in the end. A lot of people feel differently than I do about it personally, but that's just my 2 cents. So yes, it is great to have those things, but it is not necessary to store, every single box and ribbon and, piece of confetti that came with the bag. Now, the next pre-loved luxury myth is that you're always going to save money by shopping pre-loved. Unfortunately, that is not true. In reality, a lot of handbags will go for above their retail value on the pre-loved market. Some examples will be certain Hermes bags will go over retail. A couple certain Louis Vuitton bags that have been very limited in supply, those I have personally sold above retail. Generally speaking, it is not the case. However, there are outliers, and those outliers are things that are just in really, really super high demand that the supply can't keep up with. That drives up the price. I personally don't like to pay above retail, but for me and my pricing, the market is what dictates the price that I set for all of the merchandise. And while that's not the route for me, I do understand why people do it. So in the past, I've noticed that if someone has like a certain time constraint, like they need this bag for like a certain, I don't know, trip or something like that, and so that means they have a very, very set deadline, they a lot of the time will be willing to purchase the bag or the item at $100 or $200, sometimes $300 more than they would in the store. That's not to say that doubling the retail price is fair or reasonable, because it isn't, but some people definitely are willing to pay a bit higher than retail, and that is what sets the price. So if you're against buying above retail, there are certain bags that may not be available to you unless you get them directly from the store. at retail price. So that while that's not the route necessarily for me, it is definitely a part of the market and is definitely something to contend with if you want something that is in high demand. However, and this is myth number 5, I think. Hold on. However, and this is myth number 6, that does not mean that handbags are a good financial investment. You guys know I've done several videos where I have made sure to say this, made sure to say it loudly and clearly. Like, I do not believe that handbags are reliable financial investments, because they aren't. Don't get me wrong, I think it's really fun, but I just think that handbags should remain fun. The other thing to remember about handbags not being a reliable financial investment are that fashion in its nature is so cyclical, so up and down. There's really not a whole bunch of rhyme or reason to a lot of things. So the it bag of today, next year could you know, look dated, or, you know, not fit the new series iPhone or something like that. So you never know what the future holds in fashion and with handbags. So you don't want to go into a purchase thinking that you are going to make money by buying something. That's not to say that, yes, of course, you know, you will ride up price. If you ride up price increases over time, then yes, you can sell items for more than you paid for them. Even shopping in the pre-loved market, I have been able to find items that were half the price that I will end up, if and when I decide to sell them, I will end up, you know, making more than I paid, like making money on them by a little bit. It does happen, but it is not something that I ever bank on. I will only ever buy something if I love it. And like I said, I have definitely bought things and sold them for more than I paid for them. However, that's not why you buy. That's not why you spend $1,000 in a handbag. It's not so you can sell it for $1,100. And the last luxury myth that I'm going to touch on, trust me, there are many, many more, but I stopped at 7, which is a weird number, I guess. I don't know. The last pre-owned luxury myth that I'm going to touch on today is that shopping pre-loved means that you will not be able to get your item serviced, and that is simply not true. It has been said by many people that designer brands, or that the boutiques themselves will require a name or a receipt in order to have your bag serviced, and that has not been my experience. I've gotten several repairs done, and as long as, generally speaking, the brands will stand behind their product, as long as your item is an authentic, genuine piece from, you know, whatever brand it is, they should service it. Of course, a lot of people have had issues with certain sales associates not helping them, but as far as I know, the policy of the boutiques themselves may not be getting implemented fairly, and that's a whole nother topic for another day. But you can still get your item serviced as long as it is an authentic, genuine piece from that brand, which is why I brought up earlier that you have to have a receipt in order to purchase, because you really, in reality, you don't. So those are all the pre-loved luxury myths that I could think that I have for you guys today. If you can think of any more, please comment them down below and subscribe if you haven't already. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!